up, guys? What's going on? You're probably wondering, is Pete ever going to come home from Costa Rica? Is Pete ever going to take us to Jim Kovaleski's again? And it's been my greatest intention to get back here, and I have been back from Costa Rica for a little while, but we've had to kind of slow down a little bit with the vlogs. We got a little bit burnt out, a lot of work trying to do the daily routine, so we're pushing for those 2 days a week videos right now. I've been dying to get over here and see Jim and see what's growing on. I know you guys have been dying to see Jim. So a year ago today, I brought Justin Rhodes here to actually feature this, awesome urban farm and Jim Kovaleski, and we're back. So what perfect timing to come back now. Let's see what's growing on here.
You could hardly tell the difference on what that looks like from when Justin was here.
You step up your potato game this year?
Definitely. Probably put 50 pounds in the ground this year.
Wow.
Hoping that, like I said, I'm still getting, a yield that's maybe, 8 to 1 or something like that instead of 20 to 1 in Maine that you saw. But yeah, this is actually the same spot.
So are these a good cash crop? I mean, is that why you kind of stepped it up, Jim?
They grow good.
They grow good.
And I love them. I've definitely changed, not so much market driven as much as what I want, because I'm feeding my people too, my family. So this is a really good crop. I mean, it's so tasty. So they, for money wise, it's probably not all that good for the space they take up, but they are something that thrives here. Some of the stuff that I've been pushing before that just doesn't thrive, it ain't worth growing. This year the carrots rocked. Snow apples rock here. There's just a lot of things that do well, and I'm always looking for those, like the arugula. I mean, look at that arugula bed. I mean, it's so easy here, but in Maine, I put that in and it's all flea beetle ridden. So, just tune in your crop to your climate and your soils. My soils, for whatever reason, didn't used to produce very good for beets and chard and all that, but, this winter they did awesome, and I'm attributing that to that, slightly salty well water. That Chenopodium species is a seaside species, so I think that's why they did really well there. But yeah, beets are awesome. So new crops, and then just scaling back on stuff that just isn't working for me, that I keep beating my head. Oh, I want to grow that. It just ain't the deal, especially with a different, or more of a traditional Central Florida winter. Even all the, permaculture fruit trees didn't yield much this year. But, that's resilience. You got a little of this, little of that, and you always got crop. Yeah.
Luckily you had those annual crops this year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, over the years, I'm just seeing the annual crop production for food and cash is the backbone of my whole system, Maine too. There's a lot of foraging stuff. There's still, mulberries coming on. I'll be doing those. The loquats, it's kind of cool. You go get, 3 or 4 quarts of those and added $20, and then the cut flowers. All that stuff works in. But if I counted on real cut flowers, like I was thinking Michaela would love to do those, we'd have been toast. I don't know how Little Pond did, if they had the cover up there or what. But sunflowers don't take that well and any of that. So. But yeah, overall it's been good. When I left mid-season, I left right before the big freeze, so I wasn't here for the big freeze. Michaela was, and everything survived it really well, except there was a little bit right out there, and it's less overstory and it's more exposed, and I think it shocked the plant. The seedlings had just gone out like 3 days before out of the soil blocks, right? And I think they just took a hit and it kind of freaked them out, and so then their stressed plants and the pill bugs just ravished them. But just a little further back where it didn't take the frost, the same plants seeded at the same time didn't have any of it. So I am seeing that, again, the pests are the messengers telling you that plant is stressed and it's not going to do well. And so to trust that, as the heat has come on a little, the kale's getting some aphids over there in the full sun, but over here in the shade it's not. So that's the time, instead of going, oh, I got to kill those aphids, well, just make your system so it moves at that time. And I've kind of done that over the years to see that. So it's amazing how they really do tune into what's wrong with the plant and tell you, oh, not that you'll know what it is for sure, but you can start thinking about it. So this is the potato, that's the turmeric. I'll get on there. So this is, I think, there it is. Natasha. It's when I started growing in Maine, it's a really short season, 60 days, so early. So anything in Florida, what I look for is a quick potato. So an early season, they always list them in the catalogs early, mid, and late. And fingerlings are in there too, and they're usually late. But this Natasha and another one, if you can find Anushka, Anushka's even better. But you know, this is right. So this was seeded or put in the ground 114. So 214, 314. So we're right at what? And then another half. So we're at 70 days, right? And so we'll see what we got.
Did you order seed for these, Jim? I mean,
These are ones I brought from Maine. Because luckily, as I got here, they were just starting to sprout. But this is always amazing me. Look what, if I would have, look at how far these little runners are coming out. Look at that. So if I could leave these in longer, I mean, all those are set potatoes, right? But I need to get the crop to market, and I got to get it cleared for something. So we'll see what's down underneath the main plant. Whoa. Look at that.
wow.
And just think if I could have let that go for another, you know, it'll probably still, I mean, they're starting to go down a little, but I mean.
Oh, they'd even get some more size.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. I'm digging these way early. But I just want to get them. So every one of those would have set a tuber.
Right off of that.
Yeah, and so I'll leave some for Michaela to see how they do, but as the heat kicks in, I think they'll end up, you know, not finishing. But, I mean, people pay a lot for these. I mean, I probably should be doing $4 a pound for that size. You know, but I'm doing, yeah, I'm doing 3. But I'm amazed. This didn't happen last year when we dug them. When Justin was like, "Look at all those tubers."
You didn't have as heavy of a set last year,
No,
right?
look at that. And what is that about? Who knows? Maybe that's the salt water. I mean, there are salt tolerant ones. I mean, this could end up being like 25 to 1 if I would have done it. So I'm excited about this for a potential crop next year. And you know, luckily, so if I would have got these in earlier, I could have got a better crop, but not really. So think about, because I put these in when I got back, right before I left, before the big freeze. Okay, so like I think maybe the 17th of January.
That's a little late.
Right, but if I would have had, if they were been up this big, because I gave Jimmy some, and these are tender. These are like tomatoes. So they would have been right to the ground. But luckily I had them in the ground. The frost hit, they hadn't come up yet. Because when did the big freeze, like 20 something?
That one in late January was brutal.
Yeah, I think that was,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was like the 23rd, and we put them in like the 16th. So they weren't up yet. There was a few over there up, and they were in the shade, and they didn't take it very bad. But so time before I put them in, I think some in November last year. You know, and so I got an earlier harvest, but I would have been out of luck. So this is pretty incredible. And I saw it over on, because my other favorite mid-season is one called, this is Pinto. I don't know if you saw that in Maine, was I harvesting Pinto?
So how many varieties are you growing?
I think I got 8 here. Yeah, look at the size of that. That little tuber that's coming out. So, you know, but it hasn't even started to set.
So these went in a little later.
Well, they're a mid-season, same day. But see, this is a mid-season fingerling, I think. But I'm just gonna pop this out of the ground just to see what it looks like for you guys.
You guys here, this is special just for you. Would normally be coming up.
Again, look at all the tubers, and this is one of my favorites. They're isn't that gorgeous? I mean, it's called Pinto because it's like a pinto bean. So yeah, again, big set. And if I can leave them in longer for Michaela, you know, they're still thriving pretty good.
Yeah, this one definitely has a reddish kind of orange skin to it, huh?
Well, it's reddish with these swirls in it. So that's normal.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, you wash these up, and they're very, a lot of times you get scab in potatoes.
Okay.
And in Maine, I'll have that sometimes on some of them, especially like, even that, especially that Magic Molly. It's purple, so you don't notice as much, but these are spotless. And, you know, they'll get, you know, as big as a russet, you know, like that. You know, and they're waxy and great for frying, so.
I think we ate those Magic Mollies when we visited you in
Yep,
Maine.
I got some Magic
delicious.
Mollies
Yeah.
over there, too, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so
even your star fruit took some damage, huh?
that one in the backs, I thought it was totally dead.
It's sprouting now.
It is, but I mean, I'm amazed. Yeah, that one's coming back too, but it's not much low. So.
Mine took 23 degrees for 6 hours and they're sprouting, so
Yeah.
you know they'll have fruit again. That's not a problem. Wow, there's a lot more potatoes here this year, Jim. They're beautiful plants.
Aren't they?
Yeah, they really do look nice in the landscape.
You know, I do get a little pillbug damage.
see it
I
there.
think it's varietal though.
You don't think it's this tree again?
No, because look at.
Yeah, this side's fine. Oh,
I mean, a little bit,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, I think it's varietal there. I think that is Natasha. But look at the size of the leaves on these.
These are healthy, huh?
So this is Frank Morton's, this one's called Wild Garden Lacinato. So bigger, he crossed it with, I think he's got some kind of the gene pool out of the Savoy cabbage.
Okay.
And the stem, you know, people comment the stem is palatable. You don't have to cut it out, because normally when Mikey came and visited me in Maine, you know, he'd put this out, cut that off, and then chop it up. But this one you can actually eat raw.
Really?
Yeah. And then, so I love that one. That's a new one. And look at the size of the leaves.
So this isn't the normal one that we...
No, the normal one,
then, okay.
you know, the normal one would look, you know, the leaves are off, and you know, that's the difference.
Oh. Night and day.
Yeah.
Twice the size, right?
Yeah, I mean, people like this. I mean, the flavor too is better. Carol Depp, the one that wrote Russillian Gardener, she raves about this one as far as flavor. And then he came out with this one, which is, I think he's calling it Dazzling Blue. So look at the midrib color on that. That purple.
Wow.
Isn't that gorgeous? And again, the size.
That's pretty incredible.
It is. And you know, that's what I, you know, want to get across to people that are gardeners. Oh, I grow kale. You know, I'm growing 6 kinds of kale or 8 kinds of kale, but there's also these varietal in within that, because this is 3 different kinds of lacinatos right here. You know, so you got that choice, and you know, this is exceptional. So why not get this instead of the old one? So that's what plant breeding is so cool, that there's guys doing this all the time. You know,
If one of these will handle the heat of the summer a bit better.
this one, I just, because I had this all mixed up. I thought this was, I thought this one was the Wild Garden that had the, you know, stem that you could eat. But I looked last night and I remember, oh yeah, I ordered both of those. So it's this one. But he said this one is definitely more winter hardy. So who knows one, and so that's what I'm interested in for Maine. But who knows what the summer hardy one? I know most of them aren't very good. The Lacinato is probably the best though. But I know the Red Russian.
To the summer down
Yeah,
there.
and flower. And flower, yeah. So yeah, guava's coming back.
See, it's already sprouted out. You got fruit on the loquat.
Yeah.
Well, mango took a little cold damage, but it's coming
It
back.
did coming back. It took it. You know, that understory definitely was. You just look at the one out in Wendy's open. It's just like toast,
Smoked.
but it's coming up. Well, it's coming up in the middle, but and then these are rocking too. This is for me. You know, a few years ago, I saw how well they sold at the farmers markets as a bouquet, so I mixed those in, and that's a perennial.
Amarilla?
Amaryllis.
Amarilla?
And it's a perennial that continues to come back. So, like, I'll get 8, you know, off of that one thing, and next year I'll get maybe 20. Because they keep multiplying, and you know, you put that in a bouquet with some other flowers, and I'm getting $5, and I don't have to replant it. So this part of the garden's finishing up. I'm thinking about heading to Maine pretty quick, you know, within the month. So I've been mulching as I go, as I pull stuff out. So pretty much this should be empty after tomorrow for Tasty Tuesday. The radishes, the onions, the last of the onions, the first of the potatoes, the rest of the radishes. But some of these beds have already had 3 crops in since I got back in October, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
So if you want to look here, so there was a big bed of arugula right here, right? That I stuffed the collards in behind, put Chinese cabbage down the middle, right in the middle of the arugula. And so as I cut the arugula for the first cut, the cabbage was coming on. Got the arugula 3 cuts off that, and it was bordered by carrots here, right where the radishes are now. Got 3 cuts of arugula, got the Chinese cabbage out of there. Right as I was cutting the last arugula, I put the potatoes in. Okay, so it's really immaculate. You know, it's a lot of that Coleman's idea that he brought from Europe with the Friends Intensive Gardening, just always having something in the ground, just like the Kaiser's doing Singing Frog Farm. You know, they're always talking about taking something out and the next day planting. Same thing happened there. I cut the last arugula out of where the onions are. So those are the onions I'm taking to Maine. Remember last year when we were harvesting them like the week before? Yeah. So this year there's a lot more. We'll see. They seem a little slower this year, but I got them in earlier. I don't want them to get too big because, I mean, they're hard to transport. So there's probably, it must be between 10 and 20,000 onions out there again.
Now you said a month and you're going back to Maine.
Yep.
A little earlier this year?
A little earlier, yep, yeah. I got a new girlfriend up there, and we're having a baby. So I'm going to do a new farm, homestead there, 35 acres on Layton Point Road in Pembroke. And a family, ready-made family. I got 2 boys helping. Well, you saw them in the last trip, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, and it's a transition. Gonna see how it all works out, how I come and go here. We're still gonna plan to do that for at least a year or two. But settling up there, we've got a new teepee site going on up there. I've been visiting over the winter, seeing all the snow, reveling in the heat, but I like the snow, so it still could be a good, nomadic lifestyle. Just add the family.
Nice. That's exciting, Jim.
It is. It's exciting and frightening.
And frightening.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not good with change. And like I said in Justin's video, I don't work well with others, but I'm learning. I picked up an apprentice, my niece. You might see some filming of her. She's been helping me out a lot. She's going to farm this over the summer with some at least spring crops. She's talking maybe okra and all that kind of stuff. But she's got some tomatoes out here, and I'm trying to mentor her in that. But it's kind of hard to mentor when it's something I haven't done. Because I usually just am bailing right now. So it's a transition for sure. But
the next couple of years are going to be interesting, huh?
Think about the last year, how interesting it's been.
Yeah,
I mean, when
agree.
you showed up with Justin, that just really, changed a lot of things in my life. That's probably, Alexandra, well, she didn't hear about it because she's not connected, but I mean, it was part of what brought us together, which was pretty cool too.
And that's pretty interesting. So that was a year ago today. We were here with Justin Rhodes.
Yep.
Filming the garden. So it's
Filming the
pretty
garden.
similar to where it was last year then, huh?
When we get down there, you would not notice a difference. This has been another great crop for me this year. Not in this exact situation. So back where we were looking, where the radishes were and the potatoes and the arugula I was telling you, I did, I think, 5 rows that were probably 60 feet long, okay, and harvest those over the year. And I do that planting with the grid. When I planted them that way, and I've always had like every other one size up, and that's what we'll probably see here because it's not as full sun and it was later planting. But I want to show you how tight you can get carrots.
And you used the grid to put these in the ground?
Yeah. Actually, Michaela did. So see how tight those 3 are right next to each other? And usually I plant 4, right? And so when all that goes, I can just, pop up. See, this is more of what I used to get. But this year it was like I got 95%, full size, and even bigger because these are a little short.
And that's full size for that variety?
Well, this is like perfect for when people want them really sweet.
Yeah.
But even, another maybe that much longer and that much more round, I was bundling, so every foot I'm getting 50 carrots. Wow. And I'm bundling 12 to a bundle, $3 a bundle, so every foot, what is that? 4, I can't do the math, but it's a lot of money.
Adds up quick, yeah.
And they're so sweet, people just rave about them. And this is the variety Mokum that Coleman uses, the candy carrot he grows his main during the winter period. So maybe it was a cool winter too, because we had that, much more cool and the water. So this was probably my best crop this year that didn't used to perform as well, but for the changing weather pattern this year, I'm not sure what, but it was killer. It was awesome. So we got a few more mixed in out there and mixed in here. So this is, again, finishing up. This is the last of the 4th generation, I would call it, planting. So pretty good.
4th generation, and the last one for this year, right?
Yep. Okay. Michaela's going to do, because she's going to stay on through the summer, and she's going to go ahead and try some spring, shoulder season crops, some watermelon, tomatoes, peppers, okra. We're going to get turmeric in, the Thai ginger I was telling you, or not Thai roselle I was telling you about. So yeah, some new ideas. And then the black-eyed peas, I got 1,500 sweet potatoes, slips ordered, should be here in about 2 weeks. And then iron and clay peas, which I don't think had the nematode suppressing effect that I was hoping for. But the carrots weren't as nematode-y as they had been the previous year, so maybe there was some effect there. But I definitely had some areas. The carrots, even though they sized up good and tasted great, they had some nematode issues. But I still sold them. People were happy to have them.
Everything was cover cropped in cowpea sweet potato? Okay.
And this year what I'm going to do is do the same thing, but let Michaela keep beating it back, to grow her crops, and then if they don't work out, then it'll fill back in and not put the responsibility on her to, start a whole new the sweet potato crop or the black-eyed peas. The black-eyed peas are a latent cover crop in there now anyway. When I'm watching where I just mulched over there, they're popping up everywhere just because I didn't do any harvest last year. Wow. So they're just sitting there waiting to come up, kind of like Fukioka's, the oat and the rice thing. So
you got some volunteers coming out throughout.
Major, I think. So that's the cool thing I wanted. So that, if the whole thing is to keep the weed pressure down so that it doesn't get out of hand. And that's another thing I'm counting on Michaela to be able to do. What, I kind of, said, oh yeah, Pete, just come by every couple weeks and keep them out. I knew you were too busy to do that, but if somebody did that just to keep that one Bidens from going to seed, or that one, crabgrass from going to seed. So radishes have been a great crop for me this year. It seemed like I'm only selling for $1 a bunch, and I'm going, that ain't worth it. But, I kept moving those in. So you can see right here, there's 3 plantings. So that was planted probably 3 weeks ago. That was planted probably 2 weeks ago. And this one was planted like 6 days ago. Or 3 days ago, maybe even. I don't know. She didn't have her tags in, but see how small they are? But that's a 30-day crop here on the front edge of, my regular production area. And so, whatever, that's 30 feet maybe. So at $1 a piece, we'll probably get, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 bucks out of that, but in an area that wasn't even being used. And just that continual seeding on a weekly basis. Same thing with arugula.
It's that edge effect, huh?
Yeah, and using space, because you're watering anyway. This is really still nice tiered. And Michaela did most of this planting. I was trying to mentor her. I just kind of set her up and got her going. And so the design's a little different. It's not triangle, it's more angular, but you still get the, ornamental effect. And you got the snow apples, which are sizing up. They'll be going to market, maybe some this week.
Oh, look at those.
Yeah, and then next week they'll just be rocked. And then the potatoes are right behind. And then what I did try to do with these potatoes is when I got them in and they started coming up, I stuck turmeric in between them. Okay? So I'm hoping that where I dig doesn't pull the turmeric out of the ground, but even if it does, it's not even really growing yet. I'm thinking that when do you usually plant yours?
Now, like another 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But a couple different people were putting them in the ground much earlier, and I'm going, what? There's no growth going on. So that's mixing in. I'm going to try more turmeric. And then the green garlic is a hit too. I like it. Some of the stuff that I've introduced over the years have slowly picked up and become, green garlic I can sell all I can grow now. Before, I was having to try to give it away. Between, Pizza Gregario, he'll take it, he loves it, and then a lot of my regular customers, and Wrights is even, selling some of that now. And so yeah, it's just in this, like the snow apples. I showed up there one day at Tasty Tuesday with, I think only 20 bunches, and I thought that was going to be enough, and they were sold out before market started.
Oh, wow.
So I was okay, should I go pull more? And I go, no, that's enough. But so that's, become a demand too. And so you bring a new crop in and hopefully the new kales will be the same thing. So there is some savviness with marketing and, following your heart with what really interests you and what you like to eat.
What do you think the big thing was with the green garlic? Just getting people used to seeing it?
It's so foreign that they don't even know what, because they think it's scallions, but then you tell them what it is, they treat it like a scallion, but it's garlic, and then they come back and they rave about it. I've got a couple couples that buy, like 3 or 4 bunches a week. And Pizza Greg will buy whatever I could give him. So yeah, he's a great one to try anything. He'll buy all my arugula. And he likes it because he keeps it, because a lot of times I'm bagging everything for, market, but I'll just fill a cooler for him. And then we weigh it out when we get there, and because that's a really good crop too. I don't know if we talked about that much before.
The arugula?
Yeah.
I know I love his pizza with it on there.
Right, the AIM-8. I think that's the one.
Which one is it?
AIM-8?
Yep.
So this is a really good example of what we got here. So that was seeded out, I probably got a tag here, but a week before this was. So that got cut last week for Tasty Tuesday Market, right? And now this will get cut for this week in Tasty Tuesday Market. That's almost ready to cut again. That might go to Pizza Greg's, second cut. Then this will be ready for Tasty Tuesday next week, second cut. And then I'll get one more cut maybe for Pizza Greg, or it depends on whatever happens. And a cut that'll be 25, 30 bags, right? And I'm selling it at $3 a bag. That's $100 first cut, and I'll do it again and again. And, and then you end up leaving, when I finally finish, I cut it off right at the ground, right? So I cut that off, and then that stays in the ground, and it'll be even bigger when it's the third cut. And so that's an incorporated organic matter, that's feeding the soil as the roots die back, kind of like what the Kaisers talk about. Every crop's a cover crop. So my high value arugula crop is also the cover crop that's feeding the soil. And that's what something Kaiser's. I think that's just like a game changer for looking at it. Because I know Cole, he's still doing whatever cover crops that it's just to make the soil better. There's no economic value for him. It's it. But if you can incorporate something that's actually giving you an economic value and also doing the cover crop effect, you're winning all the way around. And that's what the Kaisers are pioneering. And I'm trying to follow and pioneer a little in my climate zone here, or our climate zone. So over the years, I've never really had any vegetables stolen, and I've always been kind of amazed at that. I'd be all right with people taking food, out of the garden. George once had some broccoli, vandalized. Some kids pulled it out of the ground and threw it, but I've never had it. But this year I noticed, I came up here one day, and the potato was all wilty, and I noticed it had been disturbed. So I figured, it's right out here on the street. Somebody's walking by. They pulled the potato out, took a few potatoes, and planted it back, which was cool. And I said, well, I'm going to see what happens. So I watered that. It would have been about maybe 3 weeks ago, and I'm curious. So now it's growing again. You can see that. I'm just curious to see if
Jim, it sounds like somebody knew what they were doing, huh?
Yeah, see, there's all the potatoes. But see, now it's trying to put a little more new ones out again. So they got all the potatoes off it, but it's cool. I don't mind people, sharing the wealth as long as they're not vandalizing. Obviously, they valued the crop.
So maybe next time they'll ask.
Probably not, because I noticed another one a week ago down there. Again, on the road, pulled up. So maybe I'll catch them some night.
You might need to get a
because I'm out
camera
here.
huh?
I'm out here with a headlight.
Oh,
so maybe
that
I'll
would be
catch
funny.
them too. Yeah. That I had no fruit set until I took a paintbrush.
Yeah, the self-pollen.
Yeah, so I pollinated it, and then I got them. So I need to do that with this one. But
Now these flowers taste good, right?
the calyxes, I think that's what they're called. This part tastes like cinnamon. You pop those off.
Have they actually been forming fruits for you?
They have if you pollinate them with a what do you call it? A paintbrush. Because if you notice. And I kind of noticed that. See how far? I never know. Is that the stamen?
On the end there, yeah.
Yeah, so then the pollen's on these. And so if there's not the right kind of thing, that won't wind pollinate. But if you just do this with a paintbrush and then do that, then I had big time fruit set.
All right, one of my favorite times of year is loquat season. We just had that loquat festival, didn't we?
Yeah, it's a good fruit. I this is one of the best, fruits for Central Florida. I say there is.
No seed in that one. Amazing.
Yeah, so Michaela's doing a pick of the garden for one of our friends in Tarpon Springs. It's a concept that started way back when my friend Peter Kousathanis said, oh, you got all this food, why don't you put together a box? And I really like it so much better. So we go through the garden and what we've got an abundance of. We fill a bag or a box, depends on what's going on. In Maine we were doing boxes, but with stuff we got a lot of. So we've been doing in Maine it was, and here it's $20 for $25 to $30 worth of produce, but it's stuff we got abundance of. Where before we'd have a buyer's club order, and they ordered 10 bunches of carrots, right? And we only got 9. So now you're rushing around, oh, I don't got it. It's a whole different feeling when, oh yeah, we got a bunch of kale, we'll do that. Oh, there's cauliflower today. Oh, throw that in there. So it's been a really good thing, and it really expanded in Maine. It was awesome for us up there. I almost was able to stop doing market because of it. So here it hasn't been that way. I've got a couple regular customers that I do it with, but it's a lovely thing. I like doing it.
So ideally this would build up.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, and it's a more of a joyful thing than a business thing, which I like. And everybody's getting abundance. That's the way I want to do all this.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're harvesting some kale here this morning. Let me get over there.
So I've did a few cabbages, and this is something I grew a few years ago in Maine. And it's coming on pretty good. These are late plantings, but it's a Savoy cabbage. So it'll have almost a lacinato little ripples to it. It should get a little bigger, I'm hoping. In Maine I had some that were 6 pounds. And a few purples. Got a friend that's going to do some sauerkraut, so I'm saving those for her.
Nice.
First time seeing you here.
I'm brand new to the farm.
I heard this was kind of like your trial plot over here.
Yeah, this is it. First one.
You did a good job.
Thanks. It's exciting to see it start to finish.
All right, Jim, so that's about it for you in Florida this year, huh?
Pretty much. So today I'll be finishing my last big harvest of the year that I'll be doing, and pretty much turning it over to Michaela and let her go with the flow for Tasty Tuesday until the crop runs out. So yeah, I'm, starting to work on the house a little that I'm moving into, and talking about we're getting a family cow up in Maine, so we're gonna have a milk cow because we love dairy up there, butter, cheese, and all the milk. The boys drink a lot of milk. So a lot of different changes, refocusing, but trying to blend it all together. Connecting communities again still, between, down East Maine and, West Central Florida. There's a lot of connections growing over the years, and now with help, I think I can even, make that a greater portion of my life, that, connecting to communities in different places, rural in one place and urban in another.
Exciting. I'm gonna have to come see you in Maine again this year.
Come on up. Come for blueberry time. I think I got access to a new blueberry field. Hopefully getting a new blueberry winnower going. So I've got some ideas and, a lot more foraging stuff. Alexandra's going to be putting together some tea blends that I hope to sell down here. And, she made some crazy good apple or fire cider. Oh, I need to let you taste some of that.
Yeah, you stop holding back on me over here.
Oh, that's so good. And she calls it fighter cider, not fire, because it fights all the stuff off.
Well, and that other name is trademarked,
right.
So you got to get custom with it.
Which is crazy they let them do that. But anyway, yeah, so there's a lot of exciting things in my life, and, some things I'm just kind of tentative about, but I'm going to embrace change, and, I'm not good with change. So embrace change, and you're doing the same thing.
I am. So what about the Mainers that want to find you and want to find your produce? Where are you going to be this year?
Well, we're still going to do the Eastport Farmers Market, so definitely show up for that, and Eat Local Eastport will always carry our stuff, and then we're talking about having a farm stand out on Layton Point Road. It might be the original farm stand that started the Sunrise County Farmers Market that Tide Mill Farm ended up with for a while to sell out of and turned into a turkey coop. So it's got a lot of poop on the floor, but I think we're going to clean it up and park it out on Hope's Haven and have people come by as a farm stand too.
Right out on the street.
Right, just inside the gate.
Okay, make them come in. All right.
Yeah, so we're going to have Alexander's working on a birch gate right now, so it'll actually be kind of like you enter this, haven of food and family and community. New teepees been ordered, so that should be coming with the Blanche flowers middle of April, and we were cutting poles when I was up there and sleeping out on the snow just a week ago.
Exciting. And you're still going to be farming the old site, right?
Yep, Ellen still wants me up there, so yeah, a lot of the crops they're growing in up there won't need as much tending, so I won't have to hit them like every other day to harvest, but so onions, garlic, winter squash, potatoes, all that is pretty much once I get it in and mulched well, I'll be able to pretty much let it go until harvest time. But I've got 3 helpers now with 2 boys and Alexandra, so we'll be able to rock the whole mulching thing and mowing thing. And Zephyr's birthday was yesterday, and I sent him a gift certificate for his own scythe, so that came in the mail. Carol got it out to him, so lots of good stuff going on.
Awesome. All right, guys, so Jim Kowaleski, I really feel like I've owed you this follow-up, and we are still working on a class with Jim. That's kind of part of that. Got a little overloaded with the vlogging, a lot of stress with editing. That was probably one of the things that kind of put us in the weeds and kind of put us over that tipping point where we really realized it's time to slow down. So hope you guys enjoyed this follow-up. I hope y'all are enjoying the evolution of the channel as much as I am. See you soon. So don't forget, like, subscribe, share, most importantly, pound dirt.